In this video, I'm going to show you how to turn a photo into black and white and also how to change its contrast using the free online PIXLR editor. It's a lot like Photoshop, so if you watched my Photoshop video, it would be very similar. One main difference though is that Photoshop is non-destructive and we would make these changes using adjustment layers, which means that they are layered on top of the image and we can remove them later if we want. However, Pixlr, we are going to use the adjustment tools that are up in the menu bar. And unfortunately, they cannot be removed later. They are destructive to the pixels. So the first thing that you need to do is open up an image from your computer. So I have a low contrast image here. And we will first make it black and white. So to make it black and white, we want to go up to the adjustment part of the menu bar, click on there, and then find hue and saturation. That has to do with color. Hue has to do with the color, if it's overall blue or green or whatever. Lightness and darkness, we can ignore that. But what we want to use is saturation. If we moved it all the way to the right, you would see that all the colors would be super saturated and very strong. So what we want to do is to actually bring it all the way to the left, and that will take all the color out of the image. So again, here, let me just cancel to show you. Go up to adjustment, then hue and saturation, and bring this down. Now there are probably several ways to make images black and white in Pixlr, but this is the way that's closest to what we would do in Photoshop. And so this is the way that we're going to do it for this class. The next thing that we want to do is add in some contrast. In the previous video, we talked about wanting black blacks, white whites, and all the tones in between. Well, here you can see there's not a lot of black values. There's not really white values. It's mostly very light gray and medium gray and dark gray, and that's about it. So there's two different ways that we can change that. Again, we go up to the adjustment part of the menu bar, and we have levels and curves. I'm going to show you levels first. If we click on levels, you'll see something called a histogram, and it's literally a bar graph going from black, you can see that little black square there, to white, and it shows you how many pixels. So there's no black pixels, right? Because it's like a bar graph going up. Here we start getting some like medium dark gray. Here we have a lot of gray and light gray, and actually we have no white pixels at all. So what we want to do is, I call these like little mountain climbers, and I want to bring them to the edge of the mountain to change the contrast. So I'm going to click and drag that, and as you can see, I now have some dark pixels in here. I have some black pixels, because now how many pixels are there? Well, look, it's a bar graph, so I have a bunch of pixels where the black begins. But now I probably want to add in some white pixels as well, because I want that full range of tones. And so I bring the white over. And now if you look in the navigator, this is the original picture, and this is the picture with the levels on it, and you can see there's a big difference. You can change this middle gray as well if you want, like just change it. See, if I move it here, I've made it too dark with the grays and I've lost my detail there. If I move it too far over to the left, I start losing detail. So you just want to kind of keep that middle one where it gives you a good balance of details in your shadows and your highlights. So that's the first way to do it. If you choose to do it with levels, you'd press OK. I'm going to press cancel because I'm going to show you curves. So again, we would just go up to the adjustment and choose curves this time. A lot of photographers prefer curves for changing their contrast and exposure. I personally like levels. Curves gives you a lot more control, but it's very easy to get kind of it goes a little crazy. I'll show you. Also, a second ago when I tried to make this video, the computer like hung up at this point. So hopefully it'll work now. But you can actually click and see the histogram, right? So here's our histogram. And we have this line, and this is your blacks, and this is your whites. And you can actually put, like, click little squares on the line. Traditionally, people put like 3. And you can drag them. See how it gets weird fast? But you can drag them to choose to have more of lighter or darker pixels. But it's a little bit harder to control. And slide these around. So this is one way that you could do that. And when you're done, you would press OK. Again, I personally prefer levels, but you can do it either way. If you have any questions, just let me know.